Everybody, JC here. Welcome to a Thursday night live stream. We've got, looks like a pretty full house. Let us see who is here tonight. Master of the Masterverse is in the house. So what's up? We've got Prophet. Howdy. Lord Vengar in the house. One of our PowerCon winners from last week, I believe. Hope you had a good time at PowerCon. Mr. All Mine, what's up? Paul Morales is in the house. KB, is anyone army building HISS tanks? You know, after the images they released today, I definitely am leaning towards getting a second one. I wouldn't say army build, but definitely looking towards getting a second one, I believe, to add to my collection. Probably one to keep in the package and one to keep, one to open up. Doubletree is in the house. What's up? Michael, good to see you. Lord Vengar, 3M, Blade Runner, Jason Cook, Stout Stag, Chuck, what's up? So yeah, pretty full house here. Toy Bandit in the house. So I didn't have a whole lot specific to talk about today. I thought we might, talk a little bit about this week's Marvel Legend reveals with the new Disney Plus figures and that Spider-Man box set. Also, just sharing thoughts on the Warner Brothers situation with the Flash movie. More headlines for Ezra Miller, the star of the movie. Being brought up on charges. So I really am leaning towards that movie is just eventually is going to end up getting completely shelved, but we'll have to see. .3M says, imagine having a cloning device and buying one HISS tank so you can clone the one and sell the copies. Quinn's Comics is in the house. What's up, man? Yeah, so that HISS tank, let's go take a look. If you guys haven't seen the new images that they just released today. So this thing just, every time I see it, looks better and better. I mean, obviously, the inside there just looks really nice. It's hard to say whether the final product will really look quite this good, but treads, now they're tracking up this dirt that they got it on, but it looks pretty good. Inside there, I mean, beautiful detailing. If that's how the final version looks, I mean, that's just gorgeous detailing. I mean, obviously these light up. These panels light up. The little spotlight on the ground, little nice added touch. I really wish there was like a way you could like keep this thing lit up all the time without like draining batteries. Because I definitely would like to have it on the shelf and like keep the lights on. But yeah, that to me is just, they did a really good job, looks like, on this thing. So I think there's like less than 5 days now for this campaign before it ends. And I think it's going to get over 20,000. That's my feeling. I'm going to put it somewhere in the neighborhood of ending with between 20 and 25,000 backers. Probably closer to 20 than 25, but I'm going to put it in that little neighborhood. So I don't think it'll break the record of the HasLab Galactus, which had like 30,000 backers. But, I think, for its first campaign, G.I. Joe classified campaign, I think, this has definitely been pretty successful for the G.I. Joe brand team. Exotic Carfax. Yeah, that Invisible Tigra, the Big Bad Toy Store exclusive Invisible Tigra, That was actually kind of surprising. I guess I shouldn't say too surprising because they've been known to do variants like that, but I I like gimmicks like that, especially when it actually kind of fits with the figure. So, obviously in the show, Tigra's power was to turn invisible. So they're doing a translucent Tigra figure. So I ended up picking that one up myself. I pre-ordered it today. It's a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. So we can go in case you guys haven't seen that one. Yeah, the same figure they already did, but done with translucent plastic. All the accessories are translucent. So I feel like this is one worth adding to my collection. Yeah, it just broke Mr. Allmine. The his tank just broke 19,000 today. So, and they always get little bumps, towards the end because there's always people who just kind of wait towards the end, you know, and I've done that myself. Um, so I definitely think it'll get over 20,000, but I don't see it going over 25,000. Uh, Even with a bump. But yeah, no weird orange, no hopefully there won't be any paint blemishes on the translucent Tigra. Yeah, the Tigra, the regular Tigra has definitely had the most issues as far as any of the Super 7 figures that they've done to date. I remembered She-Hulk next week. I actually forgot about He-Man premiering next week. The Marvel Legends She-Hulk figure is supposed to be going up for pre-order next week. I'm thinking probably on Friday, but I'm waiting to get confirmation on that. But the Hasbro guys definitely indicated She-Hulk's going up for pre-order next week. Stout, no. Hasbro did not make any give us any additional clues to the HasLab campaign during their live stream this week. So nothing, we really have not found anything more out. Though I will say the way they were talking, like I wasn't sure if they were gonna start this campaign, the Marvel Legend one, and wait and start it on at PulseCon, which is September 30th. And the way they were kind of talking yesterday made me think that they might actually start it sooner than that. It sounds like they're just waiting for the G.I. Joe HasLab campaign to end, which, again, has about 5 days left. I could see them even waiting until like the beginning of September, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually like have a live stream dedicated just to the HasLab and launch it before actual PulseCon. Maybe have it end at PulseCon or something like that. It's possible they might wait until PulseCon to announce it. I don't know. It's just the way they were talking yesterday. It made me sound like maybe it's going to start sooner than that. So the new Disney Plus wave. What do you guys think about that? I'm a little bit on the fence. I definitely like the build a figure, the Khonshu build a figure. That to me is probably the best figure in the wave. And of course, it went up for pre. This wave went up for pre-order today at places like Big Bad Toy Store and such. But and classic Loki, I definitely want to get classic Loki. Um, I'm not really into zombie figures. I've never been into zombies that much, so I reluctantly got the Captain America zombie figure just because it was Captain America. But I can't say these zombie figures do a whole lot for me. The Howard the Duck figure, I would have liked more if they had given it like articulated legs. I will maybe end up picking that one up. The Red Skull is a nice figure, but it's not that different from the MCU one that we got. I think it was a Comic-Con exclusive several years ago. So I have that one. So I don't know if there's enough difference to warrant getting this one. He Who Remains and Woo, those are probably worth picking up. They're not like favorite character. I mean, obviously, He Who Remains is likely going to end up being Kang, but But the Build-A-Figure to me is definitely the star of this wave. See, this Howard, just the fact they did not give us like knee articulation. Yeah, I feel like even though it's a smaller figure, they could have given us knee articulation. And as far as the regular figures, this is my favorite figure in this wave. But this Build-A-Figure is definitely pretty nice. And I like how they've done the neck. Hopefully that plastic will be, won't like just snap or anything, but I like the way it looks. Well, I think that's how they looked in the cartoon, I think. Um, but I just to me not even back when they used to like when Marvel Select would do the zombie figures and stuff, because based on the comic books, it just was never my thing. I just have never been a huge zombie fan, so but I do understand there are people out there who like zombies, so I'm sure there is definitely people those figures appeal to. They just for me personally don't do much. Thousand Wolves says he only gets X-Men, so easy pass. What about that Apocalypse figure? So the Toy Migo guys got their hands on the Apocalypse figure today and did a review. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this figure, I was kind of on the fence on this one, and I was like, I don't know. But after watching this video, I think I'm definitely going to pre-order this one. I think it's the arm cannon that sells it for me. If they didn't include the arm cannon, I probably wouldn't have gotten it, but I think that's what kind of pushed me over. Now, I'm still, whether I get one just to keep on the card back or whether I want to open it, that I haven't decided. But um, you can go check it out. We have it posted up on Marvelous News, or you can go over to the Toy Migos YouTube channel and watch their video of it. Hasbro sent them, a sample so that they could review it early, give us an early look at it. So definitely, if you haven't, you should go check that out. Well, see that, but that's cartoon accurate. I mean, and we've already gotten the blue, comic book colors version, so that doesn't bother me in the slightest. Now, I wouldn't mind getting that arm cannon in the colors of the regular comic book version figure. Um, and I'm sure there'll be customizers out there who will repaint that so it goes with the regular Apocalypse. What's up, Mr. Cortez? Oh no, I've never been on the fence about the Hiss tank. Oh wait, oh another Hiss tank. Yeah. So I was just saying a little bit ago we were looking at the new images that Hasbro put up on out today on it, and I think that's definitely kind of convinced me to get a second one. So yeah, I think I'm definitely going to get two of these. I think probably I will keep one in the box, but um, I think I'm definitely going to get two. The Diamond Select Apocalypse is really nice too. So that is another one that I will probably end up picking up. Guess you can't have too many apocalypses. Coco. So Big Bad Toy Store has gotten the Toad figure in as well. He's sitting in my pile of loot. So I'm waiting for the pile of loot to build up, which is getting pretty full again. So, but yeah, Toad is starting to show up here in the United States. Neil, thoughts on Classified for PulseCon? I think we'll probably see the next wave of figures. Yeah, I don't know if they'll be digital renders or what, but they've been throwing out name. I don't know exactly how the waves break down. They've been giving us the names of characters and stuff, but I suspect we will probably see like maybe finalized versions. Yeah, we saw the digital renders of Shipwreck, Torpedo, Copperhead, and Rock and Roll at San Diego. So I could see us seeing like finalized versions or actual, production samples painted and all that at Comic Con or at PulseCon, and then maybe digital renders of. So I'm thinking that's probably the next wave of figures, beyond the ones that have already been announced and gone up for pre-order and everything. I kind of lose track on what wave we're on, but I'm thinking those ones they showed at Comic Con with the digital renders are probably going to be the next wave, and then we might thinking maybe we'll see actual figures, and then maybe digital renders of the next wave after that, or at least some of them. And that's just purely my speculation. But the fact they had those digital renders already for those particular figures makes me think that those are going to be like the first ones released for 2023. Bean says he has the original Toy Biz giant Build-A-Figure. I still have that one. I have both the regular Toy Biz one and the giant Toy Biz one. Michael, the third Disney Plus. Yeah, I definitely She-Hulk, Moon Knight. I don't really care about Mr. Knight. I probably will get it, but that one I don't. Miss Marvel I'll get. Um, try Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop I would definitely get. The Hawkeye, I mean I probably will. I'll probably get that whole wave just to get the Ultron, but I kind of agree with you. Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Miss Marvel are probably the best ones in that wave. And the Moon Knight figure in that wave, I think, is going to be a really solid figure. I think they did a really good job with that Moon Knight. The Mister Knight, yeah, just in that same suited body again. Blake, thank you much, man. I love the Amazon packs of D-list characters. It's a way to squeeze in more characters. I hope they do more for a bunch of obscure X-Men I want. I'm with you there, though. I got to be honest. Like, I'm waiting to see what the price is on that set, and I'm almost kind of like, because I look back at the X-Men one they did with the Omega Supreme and stuff, and how that one ended up going on discount, and I'm kind of thinking, is this one going to end up going on discount? I mean, I do like seeing them do the obscure characters, so I'm right there with you. It's just, for me, those particular obscure characters, I mean, I already have a Silvermane. I essentially did what Hasbro did and took the Silvermane head that they gave us previously and stuck it on an Ultron body. So I feel like I don't really need the Silvermane. The the Molten Man is probably the one out of that set that I would be most interested in. I like the Human Fly, just again, real obscure character, kind of like they did with Frogman and the White Rabbit. Razorback, again, pretty obscure character and stuff, but just not ones that I'm quite as fond of. So I'm on the fence on the pack. I like that they did it, and so I'm not like faulting the set. It's just for me personally, I'm debating. I'm sitting here saying, do I wait till it go on discount, or is it going to sell out? Because it may, Spider-Man's always popular, and that set may not last more than like, just like the Venom 3-pack, that one may end up selling out. So I'm kind of on the fence on whether I'm kind of waiting to see what the final price is going to be. Alec, why is Hasbro distribution so bad? It's so bad that sometimes things arrive that I completely forgot I bought. I I cannot tell you why Hasbro has seemingly struggled more so than other companies. I mean, I think everybody has struggled a bit. So, I mean, obviously, there are definitely reasons for distribution problems, but Hasbro definitely seems to have had more issues than other companies, especially when you look at like McFarlane Toys, where they've seemingly been getting their stuff out fairly regularly. However, I will tell you that Hasbro is putting out more stuff. I mean, you know, and we're not just talking about one brand. We're talking about GI Joe. We're talking about Marvel Legends. We're talking about Star Wars Black Series. We're talking about Transformers. We're talking about, Power Rangers and all the other stuff that they do. So Hasbro's got a lot more stuff, I think, on their plate. So that might be part of the reason, but definitely, I mean, it hasn't bothered me that much. I mean, yes, I've been there with you where I've forgotten I've had something on pre-order. In fact, more than once here recently, I've had where I had pre-ordered it and then I pre-ordered it somewhere else and I forgot I'd pre-ordered it and I ended up with two and I had like to return one of them. The good thing about like when you order something on Amazon, it's pretty easy to return their stuff. You just take it up to like a Kohl's or something like that and you can return it. But yeah, it is definitely with these long pre-order dates, it's very hard to keep track of everything that you've pre-ordered and such. Omega Maximus, a blob figure. I feel like there's probably a good chance we're going to see a blob figure coming. I mean, there's going to be another X-Men wave coming in early 2022. I don't know what the figures are going to be, but I do know there is an X-Men wave coming. So I wouldn't be surprised if we could see, maybe as a Build-A-Figure for that wave, a blob. No, again, nothing I've seen specifically, but definitely an X-Men wave coming, and I feel like that's definitely one that we could see. I hope. I was disappointed we didn't get like a Wolfsbane or Pharaoh figure for either the X Factor team or the X Force team this year. So I was definitely a little disappointed we weren't able to finish out either of those teams this year. But hopefully, early next year we will get those and maybe a blob figure too. What did I say? 2023? Yeah, early 20, or wait, what did I say? 20, yeah, I lose track. What year are we in? Early next year is when the next X-Men wave is supposed to come. And I say supposed to because with the way things are delayed, it could, who knows. I mean, like the Disney Plus wave, the fact that we've got wave 4 going up for pre-order before they've even finished putting up wave 3, but I suspect probably both those waves will end up hitting around the same time. um you know but it's also possible that wave 4 might not see release until next year, but it was definitely supposed to be out this year. So but yeah, it gets confusing, definitely. I've seen a few of the figures from the X-Men wave, but I mean, that's the thing. People say, "Oh, I love these obscure characters," but that's the downside to an obscure character is you get more obscure, less people are actually interested in it. And it's easy to feel like, especially if you're sitting in like a Facebook group or a message board, it's easy to get people around you all going, "Oh yeah, I want that figure too. Oh yeah." And so you get build up this echo chamber where it sounds like everybody wants that figure. But then the reality is not everybody really wants that figure, and just end up warming the pegs. So that's the balance that these companies have to make, where they have decide to do these obscure characters that people say they want, but then they don't really sell in huge numbers. So what mainstream X-Men characters are they going to do that aren't going to peg warm? I mean, there's a few, but Blob being one, I'm sure would be pretty popular. But Blob's almost definitely, unless they did as a deluxe figure, is going to be a Build-A-Figure. And then how many times do we get Wolverine, or we get Cyclops, or we get Professor X or Magneto? I mean, and everybody's got their favorite characters. So I'm sure I could ask you guys, what X-Men characters that do you want to get? And like Deathcry. See, Blade Runner wants Deathcry, but I gotta be honest with you, I could live without a Deathcry figure. And I think also part of it is we all like X-Men, right? But I think a lot of us have different time periods of the X-Men that we really enjoyed. And for me it was the 90s X-Men comics. So the more modern characters don't have nearly as much appeal to me as those characters from the 90s. But there's probably those who enjoyed X-Men in the 80s or the 90s, or not 90s, but like the early 2000s. And so those are going to appeal, those characters from that era are going to appeal more to those people than like some the 90s characters for me. So I mean, that's the thing with a property that's been around as long as the X-Men is, just because you're an X-Men fan doesn't mean that you're a fan of every era of the X-Men, or that you've been. See, now you're talking. I would definitely go with I could go for an Exodus figure. So that's one that I wouldn't mind seeing. Leandra, yeah. I could go like an actual, we got the head sculpt for her. So I could go for her. Blake with the red suit Colossus. But see, I'm pretty happy with the Colossus that we got in like that box set with the Juggernaut. So I necessarily wouldn't be that excited for yet another Colossus figure. But those are the things that like the Hasbro guys have to sit there, they can come to a message board or they can listen to people's top 10 request lists, but that's not necessarily an indication that that's going to be a hot selling figure. So that's when you got to give them a little credit for like doing obscure characters. And then also, if they do a character that you don't like, then certainly you don't need to buy it, but don't be like, oh, you suck for doing that character and not giving me the character that I want. Well, we're getting Long Shot in the box set, the Mojo box set, so I wouldn't be surprised if that Long Shot figure gets re-released as a single release down the road, but we are getting Long Shot. I wouldn't mind either a more classic Psylocke, um, before she got all ninja-like, or a more modern one like a Captain Britain Psylocke. I wouldn't mind seeing either versions of those. Rachel Summers, definitely we need to complete the Excalibur team. We need Rachel Summers in her red spike jumpsuit. And I definitely people I think would love to see a Starjammers box set. I'm a little bit on the fence with the Starjammers, but Corsairs maybe I definitely would like to see, but you should try and get the one they did previously. That was actually, even though that was in Hasbro's earlier days, that was actually a pretty good figure. I don't know what it goes for in the secondary market. He says they should make a Deadpool figure. We don't get enough of them. It's actually kind of been a while since they've done a Deadpool figure. They're probably waiting for the movie. And like, I would like to see more Fantastic Four figures. I mean, they teased that Moloid figure at the panel. I don't know if that means we're getting like a Mole Man figure, anytime soon. But I wouldn't mind seeing, more of the Fantastic Four Rogue Gallery beyond Doctor Doom. Thank you, man, for the super chat donation. Always appreciated. You guys are fantastic when you do that. And I don't want to butcher your name, but Duance Crosby, I believe. Thank you. Lord Venger, Star Fox, Mephisto. I'm still thinking Mephisto we could see as like a stretch goal figure in the next HasLab campaign. I feel like that's going to be our best chance getting something like Mephisto. I don't see them doing Mephisto at regular retail. So Ghost Rider HasLab unlockable is I feel like is a good opportunity for Mephisto. What's up, McFarlane Maniac? Welcome. DC Batmobile. I believe there's been listings for Batmobiles. CJ, I could go for a Doug to go with the Warlock figure they gave us, the Build-A-Figure a while ago. I wouldn't mind that. I mean, I can't say New Mutants, like the original New Mutants team, is high up on my list of teams I want to complete, but they have given us Warlock. So if they started giving us some of the other characters in those original outfits, I could probably go for that. Thank you, Blake. If you made a 6-pack box set of the Shi'ar Starjammers Phoenix Saga figures, who would be your 6 characters? I would basically just want to see the original, Starjammer team. So, I the Phoenix, yeah. So basically, Cyclops' dad. I'm actually some of the names of the characters. The big lizard dude, definitely would need to be done. But yeah, essentially the original team of Starjammers is, and I don't know if the team's changed any in recent years or what, but that whole team. I mean, if you're gonna do a box set, then give us the whole team. I would like to see some more Alpha Flight figures, like Box. I mean, Box is sorely missing from the Alpha Flight team, so some version of Box I would love to see get a figure. I don't, if they could create, like, if they could do an updated Warlock that could somehow merge with, like, the Doug figure, that would be pretty cool. But I don't know how practical something like that would be. Like a 2-pack, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, Chode, yeah, the female chick. But Chode's the one, the big lizard dude. That's who I was thinking of. First appearance, Snowman. That would be an interesting figure if they gave us the whole original team, like in their outfits, like the Snowman version of Iceman. That would be kind of cool. That would need to be a box set, though. I wouldn't want to have to build that team. Give us a box set like that, and I'd be up for that. I wouldn't mind having the when they brought the original X-Men back, to the future or the present, whatever, the young X-Men, and then they gave them updated outfits, and I don't know if they're even still around, but I wouldn't mind that team getting the figure treatment. They did that Toys R Us box set where they did those versions, but just in their, classic yellow outfits. But I wouldn't mind the updated outfits that they ended up wearing. Jedi Code, John Byrne, She-Hulk would be cool. Yeah. I would love to see a comic book version of Titania. Not an MCU version, but a comic book version of Titania. That would be a cool one. Boocat, I could go for an original X Factor box set, like a human beast with the in those brown outfits. So yeah, well, Beast in his brown outfit. Each one had a different color outfit, but yeah, Jean with the green and yellow, and Cyclops with well, they did Cyclops. Well, they did one of Cyclops's outfits that he wore on X Factor, like the one he wore later, but not. I'd rather have, like, the one with the yellow stripes, and then Iceman. I don't know. Maybe give us a human version of Iceman since we've already had like iced up version of Iceman, and an Angel. Like, we haven't gotten an Angel figure. We've got Archangel, but we haven't gotten Angel from Hasbro, so I wouldn't mind seeing that. Yeah, Blake Marina is another one from Alpha Flight missing. I'd rather see Box before her, but yeah, to complete the team, I agree. And yeah, I'm still waiting for them to finish the new Warriors. So we need a young Vance Astro, and we need Namorta. So I'm waiting for those. Who else? Thunderbolts. You know, they need to get going on the rest of the original Thunderbolt team. Well, if they're gonna give us Volcana Coco, we also need Molecule Man. So, I wouldn't mind seeing Volcana, but we got to get Volcano or Molecule Man to go. But that would be another one, a great fit for Fantastic Four. Quinn, yeah. Well, if they do one Angel, I mean that's an easy repaint. So I agree. You know, they could give us red and then do like a variant or something. You know, retro card back blue outfit or vice versa. But yeah, definitely. Hey Everett, welcome to the live stream. No worries on being late. We're just talking Marvel Legends. Jedi Code. I'm a new Marvel Legend collector, and half the basic characters I need, like Daredevil, etc., Hasbro hasn't currently made. It would be great if Hasbro had Evergreen line for new collect. I mean, I agree. I mean, they've done Daredevil multiple times, and especially with him getting his own show and stuff with the MCU. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see like a Daredevil started seeing things like a Daredevil wave, but but yeah, I mean definitely, you know, there's always new collectors coming into the line. You know, to me Daredevil is like a figure they've done recently, so it's like we don't need Daredevil again, but for someone like yourself, I can definitely understand wanting to see those core characters get re-released. And I think Hasbro does that for the most part. You know, I mean, like I said, Daredevil's been released a couple of different times, and I don't doubt with Daredevil, you know, getting so much of the spotlight here in the MCU that we won't, you know, we'll see additional Daredevil figures in the future. Well, we got the retro card back Ghost Rider coming. We'll have to see which version, probably John Blaze. And then we'll have to see what they give us during the HasLab. But KB, so do I think they're going to shelve the Flash movie? I think that's the direction we're heading to. You know, I talked about this a little bit before, but you know, Ezra Smith is once again in the headlines. Charges have been, you know, made against him. So you know, every day it's something different with that guy, and I feel like the damage control is getting to the point where Warner Brothers, and I think they took a lot of heat for canceling the Batgirl movie and keeping the Flash movie. So that in its own right, I think is going to continue to put pressure on Warner Brothers to shelve the Flash movie. So I feel like there's very good chance that the Flash movie at the end of the day, you know, the movie's not supposed to be released until next year. So I feel like, you know, with the way things are going, very good chance that that movie will not end up seeing the light of day. Honestly, for me, I'm, you know, right now the DC guys are looking like complete and utter morons. But you know, if they decided just to shelve everything and just start over, I almost feel like that would be a good decision. Um, it's just that like shelving the Batgirl movie and not shelving Flash. I mean, that to me is ridiculous. I'm like, are we really going to do another Joker movie that is a musical? I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, who has ever sat there and said, I want a Joker musical movie? I mean, I'm like, I'm shaking my head. How does something like that get the green light? And I'm like, I mean, I'll be the first to say that I didn't think the first Joker movie was as great as other people thought it was. It was kind of an interesting take, giving it a more like, this is what a Joker would be like in real life. But I could definitely live without a sequel. But the fact that they're supposedly making this next movie a musical, I'm like, are you kidding me? So I don't know. I feel like if they just scrapped everything, I have no interest in the Aquaman movie. I didn't like the first Aquaman movie. I'm not into. I'm hearing the Aquaman movies now going to be more like Thor: Love and Thunder, more of like comedy. I'm like, give me a freaking break. So, and like rumors that at first they were going to have Michael Keaton Batman in Aquaman, and that was confusing. So now they're going to have Ben Affleck Batman, which, Ben Affleck has basically been outed as Batman in the DC universe. So why are we continuing to bring him back in? If you're going to keep Ben Affleck as Batman, give us the damn Batman movie with Deathstroke, which I'd rather see than another The Batman movie. So I'm just like, if you're gonna make the decision to just like scrap everything because it's just gotten so messed up, and then like put somebody in place like a Kevin Feige or whatever, and put an actual like 10-year plan in place and stick to it, I would be for that. But it just doesn't seem like they're gonna do that. But as far as the Flash itself goes, I've lost complete interest, even with Michael Keaton in it. I've lost complete interest in it, and I feel like with the way things are going with that guy, Ezra Miller, there's little chance that that movie will end up seeing the light of day. Dems One says Joker movie was trash. I won't go that far, but I was definitely not on the Joker bandwagon like this was the best thing since sliced bread. I thought it was a little bit on the boring side, but I thought it was an interesting take of, like I said, kind of portraying the Joker. This is what a Joker would be like if this was like real world. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I definitely was not all like, oh great, they're doing a sequel. And then when they announced it was going to be a musical, I'm like, oh my freaking god. Black Adam looks decent, but I'm like, but where is Black Adam gonna fit? Where is the Shazam movie gonna fit? Those movies don't look bad to me, but I'm like, if if we're going down this road where everything's getting scrapped, then what's the point? Kyle says the producer from Discovery Channel who's shelving Warner Brothers movie is the guy who turned Discovery into trashy reality shows. He's never produced a movie in his life, and yeah, I don't know much personally about the guy, but I mean I've been seeing headlines like everybody within the DC division of the has been unhappy. Everybody's been coming out blasting them for shelving the Batgirl movie. I mean even Kevin Smith came out and blasted Warner Brothers, and so it's getting bad when he's blasting you. So Ruben, I've got my Toad figure is sitting in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store. It just came in stock today, so I'm kind of hoping maybe the US Agent figure comes in stock here soon. Like I've been building up my pile of loot. So I'm kind of waiting like a little bit longer to see if like US Agent comes in stock, because that's one I'm really been waiting for. But yes, I do have Toad, and he will probably be here within the next week or so. Chris, I did not get the 6-inch scale Spider Mobile with Miles Morales. I did not get that one. If I see it in the store, I might get the Spider Rex figure. Um, but I'm kind of on the fence with that one. I haven't heard anything specific on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie figures for the movie coming out next year, but I would imagine it's going to be Playmates Toys. I don't think NECA would be doing movie figures. NECA's pretty much, I think, uh, stuck to doing stuff from the past. So Playmates continues to be the master license holder for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So assuming that there are going to be toys, and I do assume there will be, Playmates would be your company that's going to be. I mean, we might see like a Hot Toys or somebody do like 12-inch figures or what have you, but for the mainline stuff, Playmates Toys is going to be. I think it. I won't say 100% NECA is wouldn't do them, but I would be kind of surprised if NECA ended up doing anything from the new movie. Yeah, I believe. Well, I mean, Flash is coming to an end with what, season 9, but yeah, the Arrowverse is pretty much coming to an end. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Superman movie. Like, I have to catch up on this. I watched season 1 of Superman. I have not yet watched season 2, but I'd seen something where like all of a sudden now Superman was not part of the Arrowverse, even though he started out as being part of it. So I don't know, but yes, for the most part, the Arrowverse is coming to an end. Did I watch Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Netflix? I did not. Dan Brock says he's not because no characters from the Arrowverse even were mentioned in the second season. Yeah, but they had John Diggle in the first season, and that Superman and Lois started out, guest starring on other Arrowverse figures. So how do you all of a sudden just now not part of the Arrowverse? I was reading Everett's question about the Hulk and the difference in greens. Actually, that's not the one. This one where he was asking about the difference in greens, and it got me thinking. And I don't want to put Everett on the spot, so if he doesn't want to answer that, that's cool. But for those who are not familiar, Everett is blind, so he can't actually see the figures and stuff. And I was just curious, and if Everett wanted to elaborate, but like, how do you like judge a figure? Like, if it's something you like, since you're not, I mean, obviously you can feel it and touch it and move it around and stuff, but like obviously paint applications. I mean, if Hasbro put out a purple Hulk, you know, you wouldn't really know it per se. So I'm just curious, like, how that affects your collecting and what you like to collect, or like what you think is a good figure and stuff, since you don't actually see the figure per se. And I don't want to put him out on the spot. I was just honestly curious, how not being blind has affected his collecting and what it. So I don't know if he wants to, you know, talk about that at all or not, but it just, his question about the differences in greens made me think about that, and I was like, I would be really interested to hear his thoughts on that. D-Dow says the Diamond Select Toys Red Hulk is looking pretty good. Did he? See, I must have missed that. So I'll go back and look at those comments. I don't want to make him repeat some. D Raider says, I wish She Hulk had more muscle like in the comics. Well, what version is she? I never consider like the main, like the John Byrne version that some of you had mentioned. Like, I don't consider her super muscular per se. I mean, she's definitely toned, but she's not. I mean, they've done her like super, like bulked up muscular, but I've never been a fan of that version of She Hulk. Now, obviously, when she first appeared in the comics as like the Savage She Hulk, she was a little bit more muscular, but I don't remember Mattel doing pinless joints per se. So one other thing I wanted to talk about tonight is, and I don't know how many of you have bought like any of the arcade one up machines. If you have any, obviously, I have a few. And so they announced, I guess it was last week now that they announced, or earlier this, I think it was last week, but they announced that they're doing a new Marvel cabinet with Marvel versus Capcom 2. So I've been debating whether I want to get that one, which if I do, then I have the Marvel versus Capcom 1 here, and the new one they're doing has all the same games as this one. Plus it has X-Men Children of the Atom, which I have on the Marvel superhero cabinet, which I keep upstairs in my main office. So I already have that game. And then it has the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 game that obviously this one does not have. So I've been debating on whether I want to try and get that one or just hold on to this one. If I didn't have this one already, I would definitely get the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But, and I've been like watching videos, and obviously the main cool thing about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is you've got just a lot more character selection, I think, over the first one. Blake says giveaway. The thing, what whether it's selling this one or what, the main thing is like just the shipping. Trying to ship this thing would not be easy. I mean, if you ever go on eBay and try and buy one of these things on eBay, 90% of them are, local pickup only. So I don't know how many people would, if I tried to sell this, obviously if it was a local pickup, it wouldn't be a big deal. But the problem with like trying to sell one of these is really comes with the shipping. So, or a giveaway. If I was going to give it away, the shipping would be an issue. But yeah, I mean, I definitely, like I said, if I didn't already have this one, the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 game is better, and it has all the other, like it has every game that is on this machine. So this machine has 5 games. The Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet is going to have 7 games. So again, the X-Men Children of the Atom is one of the extra games that will be on that one, but I already have that one. So that one's not that big a deal. But that's where I'm kind of been debating. Yeah, Everett's trying to give away my Marvel vs. Capcom, or Blake is trying to give away my Marvel vs. Capcom game. Yeah, Robert says he prefers emulators or consoles. To me, I mean, I get what you're saying, Robert, but to me, I mean, it's very much a nostalgia. I mean, it's not, the cabinets aren't just about the games themselves. It's also just, I mean, they're display pieces. I've talked about this before, but they're display pieces as much as anything. for me, just like the action figures and stuff I collect. So, these are as much about the ambience of the room as the games themselves. So, but yeah, they definitely, there's some drawbacks to these things, definitely. And price, they're not cheap. I think that Marvel versus Capcom 2 is going to be somewhere between $600 and $700. John says, and Blake pays for shipping. Well, that I might do if Blake wants to cover the shipping. But even it's not even so much the money with the shipping. It's more about like, I mean, I could disassemble it, but even still, like I don't have the box anymore, and so just coming up with a box to ship it, and then making sure it's like packed so it doesn't get damaged in shipping. Those are really kind of the issues. Robert says, wanted the Terminator 2 arcade. Yeah, I think that's still available. And then the Star Wars Trilogy arcade. See, I actually, I kind of kicked myself because I did not get the Star Wars one, and I kind of would like that one. It's not, you can't really buy it anymore. And I don't know if they're ever going to reissue it. But like, the only way to get the Star Wars one now is on the secondary market. And so either you've got to pay like over $2,000 to get it, or their local pickup, which I've not seen anyone selling one around me. So, but I am kind of hoping that Arcade One Up maybe reissues that Star Wars one, because I wouldn't mind getting that one and putting it here. But I had originally passed on it because when the game came out, money was probably a little more tight, and then I hadn't like had this arrangement, so I didn't have the space. And the games themselves are like the Star Wars game itself is cool, but it does get kind of repetitive. But it's Star Wars. Again, the cabinet itself is really cool. So that's really what I kind of would want that one. The Terminator one is kind of cool. I mean, there's a couple others that if I just had unlimited space, like the Dragon's Lair one, I would probably get, and maybe the Terminator one. But space, if I got another full size cabinet, I don't really know where I would put it. That's why if I get the Marvel versus Capcom 2 one, I'm essentially would have to trade it out with that one and then find something to do with that one. Yeah, 3M. Or, even better, if I just had like a teleportation device and I could just transport it to someplace, that would solve all my problems too. Blake says, win a day with Jay. You show up with the cabinet, go toy hunting, eat fast food, play head to head. Sandbrock says, well, I got the turtle one. I got the first turtle one, which, so, I got the turtle one. That was one of the first ones I got. And I like that cabinet. Like they did a second version that has like Wi-Fi play, but I think the cabinet is ugly on the newer one that they released. So, and I think this cabinet looks better than the Marvel versus Capcom 2 cabinet. Like the artwork that they chose, I think is from the packaging of the Sega Dreamcast version. And then like the riser is like you can't see because I can't tilt the camera down easily, but there's a lot of cool artwork on the riser of this one, whereas on the new one it's just the logo. So I definitely feel like the cabinet actually is nicer looking with this one. It's just the game. So I don't know. Bean says they'll reissue the Star Wars one eventually. Maybe. I'm wondering if licensing is an issue, which is why they haven't reissued that one. I don't know. That one, believe it or not, that Star Wars cabinet, I remember people finding it on discount at Walmart stores for like under $100. I never found one for under $100, but I remember people finding that cabinet at Walmart at discount. I was like, damn, that sucked. I wish I could have found one. Blake says, I got one full-size cabinet with all the games on it. Save me money. I've seen those. In fact, that one down there at the end, which is a Donkey Kong cabinet, has like a ton of games on it. It's Donkey Kong themed, and Donkey Kong is one of the games on it, which is why I got it. But it's got Pac-Man, it's like got all the Pac-Man games, it's got Cuber, it's got a ton of games on it. So, but again, to me, it's not just the games, it's also just the cabinets. Like the Tron, even though I do like this Tron game, but I mean that cabinet is just so unique and it just looks gorgeous. That is as much the appeal for me with these things as the games themselves. The pinball machine, I mean, I ended up I missed out on the Star Wars arcade, but I got the Star Wars pinball machine. And the pinball's fun, but it's just, to me, as a kid, I always wanted like a home arcade, and so that's just what it's like. And I have like action figures decked out on all of them. So, Street Fighter and Marvel figures on this one, Tron figures on that one, X-Men figures and Avengers figures on the X-Men game, Street Fighter figures over there on the Street Fighter cabinet, Turtle figures over here on the Turtle one, some Star Wars figures above the pinball machine. So, I deck them out with action figures and stuff as well. Yeah, I can't say that I read the news about that, but I've yet to see the Sonic movie, so I can't say Pac-Man does much for me. Though I will say, as a kid, I used to watch the Pac-Man cartoon, so I did like the Pac-Man cartoon back in the day. Bean, they did do a Golden Axe machine. I don't know if it's still available, but yeah, they have done Golden Axe. Yeah, and like, I mean, yeah, I was watching some videos. So, we've talked about like influencers with action figures and stuff. So, if you go look at videos for like Arcade One Up, like one guy was like tearing apart another guy because like he was calling him a shill for like shilling for Arcade One Up and stuff, and I just kind of laughed. I was like, see, it's not just action figures where people do that. What's up, John? Good morning to you. It's good night for me, but good morning to you. Uh, yeah. So I actually have. So again, it's one of the mini cabinets, but this last one over here is Mortal Kombat, and I don't know how well you can see it, but I've got the Storm Collectibles Sub Zero and Scorpion figures on that one. Those are the only two Storm collectible figures that I own from Mortal Kombat, but yeah, I do have those on display there. Marble Madness. I've not played that game in ages. I used to have that on my Amiga 1000 computer. I don't think I ever played the cabinet version of Marble Madness. Yeah, that we were just yeah, they're still around. Though I noticed like my Walmart it doesn't have any in their stores. They still have them on their website, but it looks like they quit carrying them in store. But yeah, Arcade One Up's around. They just announced a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet that's going up for pre-order early next month. Should be released shortly after that. Yeah, yep, gonna be on home release Mortal Kombat animated movie. I just got the press release on that this morning. John says the turtle cabinet is 250 in Ireland. I don't know what that translates to in US dollars. That sounds cheap, but I have a feeling that maybe is expensive. Yeah, I know they're available for watching. I just have not found myself that interested in wanting to watch them. But yeah, I know they're available on Paramount Plus. Everett, do we find it interesting? You find the comic book? Not really. I generally prefer the comic stuff over the movie stuff, though I like both. John, yes, NECA is doing Prey figures. Those should be going up for pre-order sometime this month, but I don't know exactly when. Green Lantern animated movie. I haven't watched that one. Chuck says, when do you decide you have enough toys? I want so many things. It's such an addictive habit. You're not joking, Chuck. Um, you know, I base what I end up getting a lot on space and just personal interest. So, you know, but it's a hard call to make. I mean, I just sold, if you've been following my channel for any period of time, I've talked about how I just sold a bunch of stuff, like 20 years worth of collectibles that I wasn't displaying or anything, that was just sitting in a storage facility. So, I mean, obviously I do this. I'm not just a fan of action figures. I also cover this stuff for a living. So it's a little bit different for me, but at the same time, I mean, I think if you're not truly, the answer to your question is, if you find yourself buying stuff and you're not really enjoying it, like if you're on to the next thing to try and buy before you've even sat down and enjoyed the thing that you just got, that's probably a sign that maybe it's time to start cutting back, because it's probably more of the, I think some people just collect for the thrill of the chase. It's like they're more interested in the next thing to get. And, once they have it, it's like it just goes off in a corner someplace. And I've done this myself, so I'm speaking somewhat from experience. But I feel like if you're not enjoying the stuff you're buying, then that's when it's probably time to sit down and start looking at, maybe it's time to start cutting back or what have you. So, um, if it makes you happy, then it's worth getting. But if it's not really making you happy, then, and it's just about moving on to the next thing, then that's when I would suggest it's time to sit down and start really evaluating, why you're collecting, or, maybe cutting back or what have you. Yeah, NECA is definitely doing figures from Prey. I don't know if it'll just be the Predator. I don't know if they're going to do the female character, but they've definitely said that they will be doing figures, or at least a fig. I would think they would do the Predator and the girl, would be my guess, but definitely they are doing Prey. And they said should be going, we should be getting looks at them sometime this month, and then they should be going up for pre-order. So probably towards the end of the month. Well, there's nothing wrong looking towards the next thing, but if you're not really enjoying the thing that you just got, if you buy it and it just goes in a corner and you never look at it again, that's when you really should probably think about getting out. I'm not a hero, and it wasn't really about that video. Wasn't necessarily just about talker art. It was just about there are lines that should be drawn and such. So I don't think I wasn't the first one to speak out, and I don't think I started some huge trend. In fact, something you're not going to see on this channel. I'm not going to sit here and start calling people out. I'm not here to play internet police. that particular case, I felt like something needed to be said, and I said it, which, and I don't think we need to go into further detail, but DDow says action figure collecting is 50% appreciation, 50% speculation. Not sure I totally get, but I do think there is definitely an aspect of collecting where it gets to be, and it's not just action figures, but I think it can be a lot of different things, but where you start getting, and again, I'm speaking from my own experience, where you get more focused on like there's a saying I've always kind of gone by, and it's, there are things where it's more exciting about the thrill of trying to get it, and then when you actually have it, you have the thing, then it's no longer that exciting to you. And I do think that is an element of collecting, and I do think there is an element of compulsion with collecting. It's not quite, I don't quite put it in the same thing as like gambling or other, things like that, but I do think there's an element in collecting, and again, not just action figures, but anything that you like dedicate to collecting and trying to, build up and stuff. There can be like this element of the thrill of trying to get it is greater than actually having the item, and it ends up being kind of an empty thing, because I feel like, when you do that, you're trying to fill this void that never really gets filled. And so, I think people who become hoarders kind of end up falling down that hole. So collecting can be fun, and collecting, but there's also this line where I think, when you can go too far with collecting. And so, Coco, do I think Man Thing will be released? Um, I'm not. Do I think we'll get another Man Thing figure? I don't know. We just got one not too long ago. Guys at Toy Anxiety said the same thing. Craig at Yes Have Some have bought and sold the G.I. Joe Classifieds 3 times because they love the hunt. And see, for me, like, again, so I do toy news for a living, right? So to me, like, the next big toy reveal is always, it's an exciting thing for me, because, that's what I've kind of dedicated my life to, is covering action figure news. So whenever we get a big action figure reveal, that's very exciting to me, because, it's hard to explain why, and sometimes it's even more exciting. The reveal is more exciting than the actual figure, but it's kind of a weird thing. Michael, I do think we'll see a Werewolf by Night figure at some point. Not this year, but yes, I think down the road we will see Hasbro do a Werewolf by Night figure. John, has anyone watched the Group Micro series? I have not watched that yet. Have you? Is it any good? And there are definitely people who collect for that reason as well. They collect for value. They collect it, save it, resell it. And I mean, that's a totally different form of collecting. It's not really why I collect, but that's definitely, um, sorry, my dog's making a lot of noise upstairs. But yeah, I mean, collecting and reselling, and things like those HasLabs, those are things that likely will go up in value. So if you buy one and put it away somewhere, and like 5-10 years from now, it's probably going to double or triple at least in value. Now, the thing with those big items is it's very hard to keep those things in pristine condition, because they're so big and they take up so much space. They get dented easy and things like that. But I don't know, Robert, because I don't have either figure in hand. So, I mean, G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter to me is probably um because it's actually G.I. Joe, but my Valiverse Sergeant Slaughter is actually sitting in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store. So it just finally came in stock a few weeks ago. So I don't have that one yet. And then obviously I don't have the Sergeant Slaughter figure yet either, but from G.I. Joe Classified. But Rashid says, with the trouble I've gone through getting some figures, I couldn't see myself selling them. Yeah, and I've been there. Like I said, it wasn't necessarily an easy decision for me to sell like a lot of that stuff that I did here recently. And I didn't even do it for the money per se. It was just that all that stuff was sitting over in storage, just collecting dust. Pieces were getting lost. Things were getting broken, and I wasn't enjoying them anymore. So I just felt like it was better to find a new home for them and let someone else maybe enjoy that stuff. So that's really what made the decision for me is, I'm starting to get up there in age, and I'm like, all this stuff is just sitting over there in storage, and this is probably as big a house as I'm ever gonna have, and I there's just no way I could display all that stuff. So Henry, that is also that wave of Masters of the Universe Origins is also sitting in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store. So I do have them, but I've not gotten them in hand yet. KB says Valverse needs to update the base body. It looks tough without the vest on. I have not. I don't own any of the Valverse figures, so I'll take your word on that. The Sergeant, I mean, those Action Force figures don't look bad. For me personally, I'm gonna stick with GI Joe. I got the Sergeant Slaughter originally because I didn't know Hasbro was gonna do one at the time, and I debated whether I should cancel it or not, but I decided to go on and hold on to it. But Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders, you say that as if it's fact. I hope they come, but I don't think there's anything suggesting they are at this point. I have no idea, Michael. Could be both. We could get a comic version. We could get a Disney Plus version. I haven't seen what the Disney Plus, from the Halloween specials even going to look like. So I feel like if they did a Werewolf by Night, it would probably more likely would be comic book based. But John, I've not watched Sandman yet. I've never read the Sandman comics, but I've heard the series is, you don't really need to read the comics in order to enjoy the series. So I plan on checking that out, but I haven't as of yet. But John says the Sandman series was good. We are getting barbecue, but that's just a repaint. So I don't know if I really count that. Jerry says his most fulfilling purchase was the Toy Biz Sentinel Wave then. I see him Brock. I pre-ordered the invisible Tigra, the translucent Tigra that just went up today. I got I just got, the other week I got the wave with Vulture-Man. I did not pre-order the repaints, the LJN repaints. I'm gonna pass on those. 3M. What is the cheapest figure? When you say cheapest, you mean like cost the least or like made the most cheaply? But I honestly don't know. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Well, are we talking about our favorite Toy Biz figures? Well, my favorite, I mean, the first wave of Toy Biz Marvel Legends, with Captain America, I mean, that's still one of my favorite figures. So, but I also I love the 5-inch Toy Biz Marvel figures. Those are really what got me into collecting Marvel figures, were those 5-inch Toy Biz ones. And I still have a whole box of those. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I have this retro Marvel Legend figure Hasbro did, which only cost $10, but I don't know what would be the cheapest. And like cheapest of all time, I mean, action figures used to be a lot cheaper than they are today. Yes, the Penguin figure was today's reveal for their Arkham Build-A-Wave. So we can go over and look at that. The other two figures in that wave, we saw Batman yesterday. The other two figures are supposed to be based on listings, at least that we've seen: Catwoman and Ra's al Ghul. Oops, my U.S. agent wallpaper on my monitor. But yeah, so Ra's al Ghul and Catwoman should be the other two figures. So I'm sure we'll see one of those tomorrow, and then probably the fourth one the day after. The Build a Figure, I've seen some people thinking it's going to be Solomon Grundy, which is certainly possible. I've not seen anything telling us what the Build a Figure is for that wave, so I don't know. I've seen people say that, but I don't know where they're getting. I don't know if that's more wishful thinking, because like the overseas listings, they don't list what the Build a Figure is. It just says Build a Wave. So generally Build a Figure, the actual Build a Figures are not listed. So I do know that there was a production sample of the Penguin leaked out several weeks ago. So it's possible maybe somebody has the figures in hand and review, said somewhere on some off message board that it was Solomon Grundy, but I've not seen anything specifically suggesting it's Grundy. But that seems to be what most people are either wanting or thinking it's going to be. I have the DC. I have the DC collectible Solomon Grundy they did from Arkham City. That's one of those huge ones they did. So it'll be interesting to see if that is what they do for this wave. It'll be interesting to see how it compares to that one. 3M says, "I hope Catwoman and Ra's al Ghul are good." I think they'll be good. Yeah, the Batman and the Penguin look pretty good, so I think Catwoman and Penguin will be good. I'm kind of interested to see what the Catwoman looks like, because the only other Catwoman we've gotten is from the movie. I think he's on the shorter side. I don't think. Let me see if I can find it. So This this showed up online several weeks ago. So, you know, this I think is a factory sample that slipped out, but it looks like it's gonna, not like super short, but I think it'll definitely be shorter than the other figures in the wave. Now that to me is kind of the big question. Will he have an umbrella? Will he have hopefully he will have an umbrella. I doubt it'll be like a gun umbrella, but hopefully it will at least have an umbrella. Oh yeah, the preview image they showed does have him with an umbrella, so he does look like he does come with an umbrella. I'm guessing that's the only accessory that he comes with, but he does at least have the umbrella. Are you talking about the one from the movie? Do I think we'll get another The Batman figure? No, at least not until like the sequel comes out. Robert, those last Ronin figures, I haven't read the comic book story, but those figures look pretty good. I'm interested. I definitely am thinking about getting those dioramas. A little bit's going to depend on price, but and then I got to see if I can figure out some place to put them. But those are cool because they give you a good, they might take up space, but they also allow you to display figures. So I definitely am interested in that. Chuck, because they're teasing, they're trying to build up anticipation. So they put out these preview images, and then when they go up for pre-order, then you can find out when they're going to be released. But they feel like doing it that way, it builds up anticipation. Did it? I don't remember the Batman movie one having a briefcase, but I think this one will come with an umbrella. I'd be surprised if we don't get the umbrella. I gotta see if I can figure out when this wave's gonna go up for pre-order. I'm thinking maybe next week because I figure they're gonna show the remaining two more regular figures and then the Build-A-Figure. So they seem to be revealing one a day. So I think we'll see tomorrow we'll see the third one of either Catwoman or Ra's al Ghul, and then maybe probably on Saturday they'll show us the fourth figure, and then hopefully either Sunday or Monday they'll show us the Build-A-Figure. What's up, Polar Bear? I wouldn't mind seeing Mr. Freeze, but I don't know how deep they're going to go on the Arkham stuff. I mean, we also know that we're going to get regular versions of Scarecrow and Red Hood. We've seen those already released overseas. So, they did those variant versions, those gold label ones they offered through the McFarlane store, but there should also be regular versions getting released at some point. So, but I don't know exactly how deep they're going to go on the Arkham stuff. And there's also another Joker coming as well, so yeah, I don't have the NECA street scene, so I'm gonna have to try and get at least one of those if I get the sewer sets. I don't know if I'm gonna get three, but we'll see. And then, they talked about at PowerCon doing possibly after the sewer sets, doing the Technodrome set. So That would be kind of cool too. But KB says Hasbro doesn't care about Power Rangers. It seems. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't quite go that far, but they definitely don't seem to be putting a lot of priority on Power Rangers these days. I don't know if that's because sales have been weak. I mean, it's they bought that license, so you would think that they would be more gung ho about it. But I agree, they have not put a lot of emphasis here recently on Power Rangers. Since I've never been into Power Rangers, I can't say it bothers me a whole lot, but I do agree with you on the sentiment. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't reissue or make it available again, but I've not heard anything specific on them making the Party Wagon available again. No, it goes up if you're talking about the 5 pack, that goes up next week. I screwed up when I originally reported about that on Marvelous News because I didn't look at it closely and I just made the assumption it was going up for pre-order today along with the Disney Plus wave, but it's actually next week. I think the 16th they said. Lord Vengar, any chance the Mattel Creations experience will improve? We can always hope, but I wouldn't hold my breath at the same time. Hopefully it won't sell out in 2 seconds like the Wondar figure, but that's what they said at PowerCon, that the Street Dio would be available at Target. So Double Trouble says Fortnite is surprising in many ways. How so? A polar bear. I have that figure. I took some pictures of it and put it on Instagram, but I don't know if I'm gonna do an actual review. I don't do a lot of reviews these days. I do a few here and there, but it is a nice figure. I just right off the cuff, I like that figure. So if you've got it, I think you will enjoy it. And for those who haven't gotten that one, that's supposed to be available. I think probably next month on Target for their Geek Out event, which they haven't given us a specific date on that, but I think it's going to be sometime in September. So also with that animated series Toka and Razar that most of us did not get during the Holothon event, that's going to be available on Target during the next Geek Out event. I haven't. I know people are getting it. I have not looked at it closely. I mean, I didn't buy that I haven't bought. I started to get those figures and then I decided not to. So I have not gotten any of those VHS figures. I will get the more figure, but that's it probably. Robert, what do you mean by collaboration? So I mean, I've worked with Pixel Dan many times. Pixel Dan used to be a moderator on my message boards when he was a kid. So Fush, I mean, Fush is technically they're a competing website. They essentially do the same thing we do, toy news. So I mean, Robo's a pretty cool guy, but they are kind of competition. So And I'm not talking about like on YouTube per se, but I mean, I work with a lot of the toy reviewers out there. We feature their reviews on our sites. They provide us with images and stuff. And so, I try and work with a lot of those guys. But, again, like Robo and Fush, they're kind of their own thing. So I don't think we probably would see a collaboration with them. But I've worked with Pixel Dan before, and, I don't now, like, again, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by collab, but like I don't really do like I don't go out and go on other people's YouTube channels, and I don't really do like bring people onto my YouTube channel. I don't know. It's just not quite my thing really. So I kind of just stick to doing my own thing here on YouTube. But, as far as like on the websites and stuff, we often work with a lot of those reviewers. So yeah, well, believe it or not, yeah, I think he was in high school when he started moderating on the TNI. I think back then it was American Dream Comics, but he was a moderator. He went by the name of Mandalorian. Yeah, this was well before YouTube was even a thing. And he kind of went off, and got into the YouTube thing on his own. But, since then I've definitely worked with him, and we've done stuff before. But I mean, Pixel Dan's become pretty hot shit these days. I mean, he's got that book. He was at that Hall H panel at San Diego Comic Con with Mattel. He's apparently wrestling that one of those guys from the one of those wrestlers from the wrestling podcast duo. So I have no idea what the hell's up with. I mean, no offense to Pixel Dan, but and I know obviously wrestling is a little bit on the stage side, but that guy would kick Pixel Dan ass if they really. But it's kind of funny. It's kind of cool that they're kind of doing like that promo stuff for wrestling. So it's possible, but who? I mean, that makes sense. I seen that artwork that somebody created, supposedly based on like the trailer they showed at San Diego Comic Con. I hope that's not what he really looks like. I haven't heard anything about a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle book. I mean, the Masters of the Universe book he did essentially through Mattel, so it's not like he just did it on his own. There's a whole series of those Masters of the Universe books, and through Dark Horse Comics and Mattel. So I think he got on with that. But maybe he's working with Playmates Toys to do something similar. I don't know, but I haven't heard anything about a turtle book. Yes, choreographed. I would agree with you. I mean, it's staged, but I mean the wrestlers do, they go through a lot of physical abuse and trauma to their bodies, that's for sure. The Jedi Code. The artwork was debunked. His face is underneath. He just wears a helmet. Gotcha. Well, I think we all, when we're young kids and watching wrestling, I think we all think it's real, as in it's not like choreographed stage type stuff. But again, I mean, when those guys jump on tables and cut themselves with barbed wire and stuff, I mean, they're really doing that stuff. it's planned. It's not like it's spontaneous. Though sometimes it's spontaneous, but the winner is usually predetermined and all that kind of thing. Robert says before toy reviews was watching cat videos. Cat videos are still cool, man. Yeah, Pixel Dan has wrestled like in that Springfield league for a long time, but he's actually supposedly going up. Uh, I forget his name, Cadona, or I forget the guy's name, but he's one of those. He used to be an actual WWE wrestler, and he does those. He's a big action figure collector. It's like two of them. Um, so we're talking about Pixel Dan has done independent wrestling, in his hometown, but we're talking about an actual professional wrestler that Pixel Dan is supposedly going to go up against. Um, and like it's a cool thing that they're doing, but if anyone thought that Pixel Dan could actually really take the guy, I think they're yeah, Matt Cardona. So Pixel Dan and I haven't followed it too closely, but supposedly Pixel Dan and Matt are going to be wrestling each other in that Springfield league that Dan does. Polar Bear. So I did a few interviews and stuff, but it gets kind of complicated because doing. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking about like people like in the toy companies or like just other YouTubers and stuff? But to be absolutely honest, whenever I've done interviews, people just generally don't seem that interested. They don't get a lot of views and stuff, and so it ends up seeming like it's more trouble than it's worth. So I think he has cut a promo. I don't know if he's had anything up on his channel, but I've seen some. I don't know how far they're gonna take it. Like I don't know if they're actually going to wrestle each other, or if they're just kind of doing a fake promo thing. But yeah, I mean that's what it is. I mean, yeah, and I'm not saying Pixel Dan's out of shape or anything, but when you look at Pixel Dan and you look at like, you know, those professional wrestlers who are like ripped, it's like it's hard to think that Pixel Dan would have any chance. I don't know if Pixel Dan is a heel, like in the wrestling world. I don't know if he wrestles as a heel or if he's, I don't know which one's supposed to be the good guy. I don't. I used to. I mean, as a kid, as a teenager, even like in my 20s and 30s, I used to watch wrestling all the time. I was pretty into wrestling, but I just for a variety of reasons I quit watching wrestling and I have not watched wrestling in a long, long time. So yeah, he I mean, he's not a professional wrestler per se, but he's wrestled in his hometown, um, as a side thing almost as long as I've known him, to be honest. Lord Vengar, thank you, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, that's me. I'm here to bring you news and information. I'm not really an entertainer. I'm not here to try and be funny or make you laugh. I'm not that. It's just not me. I mean, I've dabbled in trying to do skits and stuff with videos and stuff, but it's just not really for me. So I try and bring as accurate information on this hobby as I can, but that's pretty much it. I mean, if you go like when I was a kid, WWE was kind of just getting started and there were all these independent wrestling leagues and stuff. And so like and they would actually air on TV these small independent wrestling leagues. And so that's kind of like, when I see the stuff that I've, glimpse Pixel Dan doing, that's what it reminds me of. That small independent stuff. And like I think it was on Stars that wrestling series, which I don't know if it ever got picked up for a second season, but it was starring the guy from the Green Arrow series. That was actually pretty good. I forget the name of the show now, but Kismet, did you miss the Azrael Batman Walmart exclusive figure? As in, like, did you miss out on getting it online? It is currently listed as sold out. It has been very sporadic, so I don't know exactly. The Green Lantern, the Hal Jordan, Parallax, the John Stewart DC Superpowers Green Lantern, and the Nightfall Batman. They're all listed on Walmart's website, but they've all like sold out. Like either like sometimes you'll be able to put it in your cart, but then it tells you it's not available. And then I've seen some people that say they've actually been able to buy it, but it's been very sporadic. But I think, yeah, Stefan Emil from Green Arrow, yeah, I forget the wrestling show, but it was good. Sorry, I'm bouncing around. But I think you will get more opportunities to get the Nightfall Batman off of the Walmart website. It's also been seemingly showing up at quite a few stores, so I don't think it'll be super hard to get if you haven't gotten it already. But what was anyone remember the wrestling show that he recently did? I liked him as Green Arrow. I'll give you the Casey Jones. I didn't think was too good, but thank you, Mario. Appreciate the kind words. You're welcome, man. Yeah, and I haven't been to my Walmart in like a week or two, so I don't know if any of those have shown up at my Walmart, but if my Walmart has them, then probably all Walmarts have them because my Walmart's always the last one to get anything. Yeah, Heels or it was definitely yeah, I think you're right. Something like that. It was yeah. I thought it was a good show. Like I said, I haven't heard anything about it getting picked up for a second season, but I don't know if it was canceled or not, but I liked that show. Really? I haven't seen that. Like the video I saw, he was like wrestling somebody, and then the Cadona guy like somebody rolled out a TV screen, and he did he wasn't there in person, but he like filmed something and they played it there. And this is like a high school gymnasium where they were wrestling, but But I would actually, I would, if they put it online, I will watch Pixel Dan Russell, the guy, if they actually made that online or something. Jay, Everett, what Instagram do I mostly use? Well, I have an Instagram page. I don't post there on a daily basis, but now the websites have their own Instagram pages, but for me personally, I mean, I only have one Instagram page. But like I don't post on my own Instagram page, I don't like do news or anything like that. I just occasionally will post some images, like some toy photography that I try and dabble in a little bit, and I'm not fantastic, so definitely much more talented people out there, but I just do it for fun a little bit. But I thought he was good at Sam Brock. I thought he was pretty good at Green Arrow. And I will say, towards the end of the series, it was starting to get a little stale. But overall, I thought he played a pretty good Green Arrow. And I mean, he created that. I mean, he was in large part responsible for the CW, DC universe. So you don't like the comic book Flash they did? I didn't think it was too bad. I never thought of Peter Parker when I saw that figure. I want to say October, but I'm going off the top of my head for those D&D figures. Might be sooner, but I want to say for some reason I think they mentioned October at PowerCon. Well, Smallville wasn't part of the, per se of the CW, DCTV. I mean, Smallville definitely it was its own thing and definitely, I think was a good show overall. Well, McFarlane did do a Green Arrow figure. It kind of sucked, but they did do one. The best Green Arrow DC TV figure is actually done by DC Collectibles. It was in a 2-pack with Flash. Ever haven't heard anything on an updated Tiger Shark? Anything's possible, but I have not heard anything for that. Well, we've gotten. I mean, McFarlane did a comic book Flash, and there's more Flash figures coming. But yeah, I didn't get the. Well, I have the Justice League Flash that they did, the movie Flash. But yeah, McFarlane has done Green Arrow, which again I didn't think was that good, and then they did a Flash figure here more recently. Those are the only two DC TV figures that McFarlane have done. Ezra Miller. See, I didn't hate him. I didn't hate his character in the movie, but definitely the real life actor seems to be a real piece of work. So, all right, we've gotten little bit longer than usual. It's almost 9 o'clock, so I think we're going to wrap it up tonight. But as always, guys, much appreciated for everyone who stopped in tonight and chatted. It's always good to hear from you guys. Probably we'll be doing a news video tomorrow. But if you don't check that out, hopefully you guys have a great weekend. And until next week, I'll catch you guys later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.